that the Bonnyville and District Chamber of Commerce acknowledges that we are located on Treaty 6 territory and respects the histories, languages, and cultures of First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and all First Peoples of Canada, whose presence continues to enrich our vibrant community. So first things first, for the MD municipal election, we are really excited to be able to give you this virtual forum via this format. We did it this way because the political climate out there, the whole atmosphere of things is volatile, to say the least, and we didn't want to host this forum with the restriction exemption program and live stream it to have people not able to come or ask their questions in person, and then of course there's also some value to doing it this way, because in a forum format, you're asking questions of your candidates and they hear the answers of the other candidates. So this way you really get to get their original answer and what they're thinking. So we're really proud to have been able to do that. The format, we tried to stick very close to a forum format with 5 minutes for introduction, 3 minutes to respond to 5 questions, 2 of which they were given in advance, and 2 minutes to conclude. So that being said, we really wanted to offer this. And you know what, in the past, we haven't really done forums for the MD elections, municipal elections. So we thought that this would be a great opportunity to be able to provide this value for all the constituents as well. And you may notice that some candidates did not participate. I did want to let you know that every candidate was given the same opportunity, and if they did not participate, it was due to their choosing. So I do apologize if you don't see somebody that you wanted to hear from, but everyone was given the exact same opportunity, and those that took advantage of the opportunity, of course, you'll see later on throughout this video. So that being said, I wanted to thank everybody for watching, and please remember, get out and vote on October 18th.
Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. That's a big part of why I'm running. I want to say hello to everybody in Ward 1, and thank you for taking the time to watch this. I know that most of you, if not everyone in the Ward 1, is disappointed with the results of our federal election and with the way things are going around here. But this is not the time for us to become divided. We need to stick together and get through this. The MD of Bonnyville is still a wonderful place to live, work, and play. And now more than ever, like I said, this is the time for unity. It's the time to help our neighbors out and to get through this together. I've lived here most of my life, as well as met my wife in this area, and we now have 4 boys. And this is truly a great place to live and raise a family. When I'm elected as your counselor, I will listen to the best of my ability. I value things like freedom, life, liberty, and integrity. I also value hard work, personal responsibility, and common sense. I believe that all people are created equal and deserve the right to life, liberty, and happiness. As your counselor, I will work to improve roads, support our emergency services, and help provide good fiscal management. The budget will not balance itself. That's it.
Perfect.
I chose to run for council because I see the MD as a very important part of our community here, and I see some things going on that need changes, need a positive change, and I believe that I have the time and also the ability to listen and hear all sides of the arguments or situations that arise and provide a balanced and logical decision to things that need to come up and decisions need to be made.
The oil sector has played a major role in our region's prosperity, but with the volatile nature of the price of oil, we have seen many recessions. What do you see as a feasible answer to diversify the economy in our region and ensure its sustainability in conjunction with the oil and gas sector?
Thank you for that question. It's a very good question. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone who's worked in the oil and gas sector. You've worked long hours through all different types of weather and have been through many changes and recessions. And it is in thanks to you that this community enjoys the level of prosperity that we do. So thank you very much for your effort. The question is about diversifying our economy, and what we have another major industry in this area, and that is our farming. Every time we eat, we should be grateful for the farmers in this area. And they also work long hours and face much uncertainty in the weather, including the drought this year, which has made it a lot hard for a lot of farmers. And I've talked to farmers that they're having a hard time knowing how to feed their cattle this winter, so that's a huge issue. We actually have a fair bit of diversity in our community already. What we really need to do is stand up for our oil and gas sector, as well as other industries in the area. People are still driving and heating their homes. Meanwhile, Eastern Canada is buying foreign oil and taking our equalization payments and saying no to our oil. We need to keep fighting for more pipelines, and if the East doesn't want our oil, then they should not get any more equalization. No oil, no equalization, plain and simple. And what about the service industry? How on earth do we expect to diversify and grow the service industry when it keeps getting shut down? Our restaurants have been shut down multiple times, and then they were allowed to open if they had a patio. So they invested in patios all over the place, and then those were shut down too. If we want to diversify our economy, then we need to create a stable environment where businesses are free to operate without government overreach. And then there is all the mental stress and anxiety that goes along with it all. Whether you own a business or not, and who in their right mind wants to start a business when you don't know what kind of rules the government might stop on your business at any day? As councillor for Ward 1, I will do what I can to help create a stable environment for entrepreneurs to dream, develop, and build businesses.
Our chamber network has been regularly monitoring and measuring barriers to business in our community. What do you see as an opportunity to work with business to establish a framework of measurement to improve services and make our community more attractive to investment?
Yeah, I will support the businesses in the area, and everyone's jobs are very important. And it's been a rough time the last year and a half or 2 years, and we need to do what we can to make sure businesses can stay open. That's the number one thing I can see.
If elected, what are the top 3 priorities you wish to accomplish during your term? And what do you believe success looks like as a councillor?
So the top 3 priorities will be good fiscal management, improving our roads, and continuing to make our communities a safe place to live, work, and play. That will include supporting the Bonnyville Regional Fire Authority and the emergency services in this area. And as well, there's different issues around from the residents of Ward 1 that I've talked to. Some of you will have seen me already and talked to me. There's issues just east of town with drainage and then safety for people to get into town. And there's a boat launch issue on the Beaver Dam. So there's different things, and there's a lot that I haven't mentioned here that you guys have said, and I've taken notes of, and I appreciate your time talking to me over the last 2 weeks. And if I haven't been to your place yet, then I look forward to seeing you soon. And success as a councillor, I feel it's when people know that their concerns have been heard, and that'll be my goal, is to listen to everybody in this ward. And when you call the councillor, you know that he'll show up and listen to your concerns. I know that I won't be able to make everyone happy all the time, and I'm not going to promise that, but what I can do is listen to your concerns and do my absolute best. And also, as well as good management with your tax dollars. The money that's comes to the MD, it's your money. It's not the council's money, it's the ratepayers' money. So we need to be accountable for that.
What will you do to engage and foster relationships with the Indigenous community to ensure we acknowledge and prevent systemic racism in our region?
As councillor, as I've already stated in the opening remarks, I believe all people are created equal and deserve the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that's for all people. Also, a bit of background on myself. I worked teaching shop class out at Frog Lake on the reserve there for three years, and thoroughly enjoyed it. There are great people there, and it's just a true honor to serve there in that position.
What ideas do you have to ensure Bonnyville is a place of attraction for tourism and new business? That's Bonnyville and our region, right? That includes surrounding areas. So what ideas do you have to ensure the Lakeland is a place of attraction for tourism and new business?
In regards to the tourism aspect, we need to be allowed to keep and eat fish out of the lakes. My boys and I, we go to Saskatchewan to do most of our fishing because it's almost impossible to keep a fish out of the lakes in Alberta here. So we can advocate our provincial government to open up the lakes. Bear Trap Lake, for example, has a lot of jackfish in it that it's been closed for I think over 20 years, and the fish don't even live that long, so why aren't we allowed to keep the fish out of that lake? Moose Lake, for example, has a lot of fish in it, jackfish and the walleye, or pike and walleye, whatever you want to call them. And my kids and I used to enjoy coming down to Moose Lake to fish, but no longer are we allowed to do that. And there's a bunch of other lakes in the area that have too many rules, so we need to open the lakes up, open them all up, and let people harvest fish out of them. I don't want to see kids crying anymore when they have to throw a nice fish back. So that's one way we can attract tourism to the area, because our lakes really are our biggest tourism attraction. And then as far as new business, we need to create that stable economy, stable environment where our businesses can be open. Businesses can't open up if they're worried about getting shut down in 2 weeks. You can't expect anybody to take out a business loan or even invest a large chunk of capital when they don't know if they're going to be able to stay open and keep operating like the next day or the next week. And also, I've heard from different people we can cut some red tape. The MD has, I don't know how the permit system works yet completely. I am a journeyman carpenter by trade, and I know there's building permits and some of that is necessary, but we can cut the red tape to the bare minimum and allow people to start businesses and flourish that way. When elected as your councillor, I look forward to serving the people that live in the Ward 1, from the people north of Bonnyville to people of Fort Kent, people out by Beaver Dam, people around Bear Trap Lake, the people all the way around Muriel Lake, south of Jesse Lake, people around Charlotte Lake, Muriel Creek. It's a very big area, and there's people just east of town by Barrier Lake. Like I said, it's a huge area, and there's a lot of great people in this area, and I look forward to serving and listening to you all and hearing your stories. I've been actively involved in this community for a long time. I served quite a few years on the local apprenticeship committee and served a few years as well on the volunteer fire department with the Bonnyville Regional Fire Authority. And I think it's very important that we support our emergency services. I'm not a veteran, but I think it's also important that we support our veterans and continue to fight and stand up for the freedoms that they went overseas and fought for. So yeah, vote Josh Crick for Ward 1, and you'll have a voice for freedom in the Bonnyville MD Council.
Hi, my name is Louise White, and I'm asking for your vote to be your voice for Ward 1 on MD of Bonnyville. I have 12 years of effective, proven leadership on previous council with the town of Beaumont. And there I learned so much. First of all, I decided to go to as many educational seminars and conferences as I could so that I could learn from other municipalities to see what works and what doesn't work. And then from there, I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. So hopefully I can share those ideas with the new council and with the residents and implement the very best ones. As any councillor can attest, it takes at least 1 full year for you to figure out what the goings on are for council, like the council proceedings and such for the meetings. But I've been there and done that, like I said, for 12 years, so I can hit the road running, so to speak. So I look forward to doing that. I've been delivering these pamphlets to households throughout the district. If you haven't received yours, just give me a call and I'll gladly come by your house to give it to you. Right now, though, I'm just going to read off of here because I want to share all the different committees and boards that I have sat on, which could bode very well for the MD of Bonnyville. I was on the Waste Minimization, the Library Board, the Asset Building Committee, Wastewater Commission, the Promotions Committee, the Growth Study Annexation Group, Recreation Facility Needs Assessment and Feasibility Committees, the Chamber of Commerce, Communities in Bloom, Downtown Revitalization, and Economic Development. And being a volunteer has been a big deal of my life, my whole life. And so since I've come to the district, just a few years ago I moved here, I was appointed to Bonnyville's Downtown Revitalization Committee, as well as I sit on Cold Lake's Women of Influence Committee. And I've always had, excuse me, a great interest in watersheds. So I look forward to being an active member of LICA and also the Muriel Lake Basin Management Society. And now a bit about my personal life. I was widowed several years ago, but I was lucky enough to find a man out here. And so Marvin and I just recently married, and together we live with our 3 dogs on the south side of Muriel Lake. Together we have a huge blended family, 7 adult children and 9 grandchildren. And we like quadding, snowmobiling, skating, camping, gardening, everything that you can do right here in our own backyard. So it's been pretty awesome out here. I've also had careers in advertising, and then I was in the insurance investment industry. And now I want to focus working exclusively for you on council. I'd love to meet with you one-on-one for a coffee chat. So come on by A&W on Fridays at 9:30, or on Saturdays I'm at Lakeline Grill. And give me a call if you don't want to go to either one of those restaurants because you feel uncomfortable. My number is 780-242-2135.
The oil sector has played a major role in our region's prosperity, but with the volatile nature of the price of oil, we have seen many recessions. What do you see as a feasible answer to diversify the economy in our region to ensure its sustainability in conjunction with the oil and gas sector?
Actually, we are already very diversified, but I'm a good example of what the perception is about here. So when I first moved here, I thought it was definitely oil country. Bonnyville's an oil town. But then I was looking at an overhead photograph of this area, and I could not believe the amount of water that's there and the agricultural lands. It's just absolutely gorgeous, and there's so much more to offer. I was talking to a farmer, actually, who suggested that we have an egg corner in the MD of Bonnyville's administration buildings. So perhaps they could coordinate events for the agriculture group. Recently we had farm days, which was a huge, huge hit. Not only is it a good educational tool for kids and adults alike, it's also certainly bolstered the farmer's business, right? So I'm hoping that maybe with this ag corner, he's right, we can actually just get out there and plan to have more of those kind of events more often.
Our chamber network has been regularly monitoring and measuring barriers to business in our community. What do you see as an opportunity to work with businesses to establish a framework of measurement to improve services and make our community more attractive to investment?
As I had mentioned previously, I was on the Bonnyville Revitalization Committee, and I so passionately believe about that. I think the MD and everybody in this region need to stick together, rebrand ourselves, and promote ourselves together. Doing things together makes a much more bigger impact. In Beaumont, we actually did a fantastic job of making very tight criteria of what we wanted to see in our downtown area. And that's because we had a very clear vision with the help of the residents to determine what we wanted Beaumont to look like. We can do that out here. And we made some really tight design guidelines, and they might have been arduous for some of the developers, but they wanted to come. The investors came. Like after we said, we want it to look like this, we shared a vision, and they wanted to be part of it. So I think we could do that for this area as well.
If elected, what are the top 3 priorities you wish to accomplish during your term, and what do you believe success looks like as a councillor?
I think, let's go backwards. I think success for a councillor would mean that I'm visible. I'm always out there. I walk the talk, basically. The council meetings are actually a very small part of being a councillor. It's the 100-page agenda that you have to prepare for. So I do believe that it's mandatory that you are prepared for these council meetings. We are elected officials, and we're just supposed to be passing policy and such. So I strongly believe that. But I do think we have to be out there talking to the people, finding what the issues are. It's very hard to communicate. Doesn't matter if you're rural or urban. It's always been a difficult thing. So I'd like to see somehow we can get communication more out there. But again, I think that takes partnerships, and so chamber's one of the places to go. Top 3 priorities. I think implementing some more partnerships and collaboration with businesses, with the ag area and the oil industry, like all come together. But I think that's probably my top priority. But I don't even have just a top 3, I'm sorry, because as I said, I have so many ideas from different municipalities that can work here so well. And those are the things I'd like to share first, just to see what people might be interested in going forward with.
What will you do to engage and foster relationships with the Indigenous community to ensure we acknowledge and prevent systemic racism in our region?
I think just be inclusive for all. I believe to not segregate everybody. I think that we always have to make sure that everybody comes to the table for anything that we might want to do out here. So when we're talking about revisioning Bonnyville and area, definitely they would be invited to the table along with everybody else, because we're made up of so many diversified demographic of people out here. And so let's hear from them all and make sure that everyone's just always included.
And last one, Louise. What ideas do you have to ensure Bonnyville is a place of attraction for tourism and new business?
Well, that goes hand in hand with the other questions, I guess, because I do believe that we have to have a very clear vision of what we want to see happen here, preferably for me, myself. One thing I thought of is I love the Bonnyville logo because it's a bright blue, bright green, and birds, and so it's showing nature coming together. I'd like to see the facades of all the businesses in downtown Bonnyville reflect that, perhaps, and make this whole region be considered the Lakeland country. I don't know if anyone's actually adopted that just for their own city, but I think no, it has to be for the whole region. So again, we can do a big bang for a buck and save taxpayers money, but getting that word out there, and definitely our business will bolster as well.
Awesome.
Well, actually, my closing remarks are very simple. I just wanted to thank very much the Chamber of Commerce for doing this. You guys must have gone through a lot of interviews, and I just appreciate to be able to be heard.
All right, so thank you to the Chamber for moderating this public forum. This is a great way for candidates to spread awareness about our platforms, plans, and intentions. The opportunity helps to keep voters informed. I am Darcy Scarson, your current Ward 2 Councillor of the MD of Bonnyville, and I'm seeking re-election in this upcoming municipal election on October 18th. Before I begin my opening remarks, there's a few acknowledgements and thank yous I would like to share. First and foremost, I need to thank my beautiful wife, Elaine, and my 3 wonderful children, Ben, Jordan, and Jackson, for their continued support and understanding over the past 4 years. I truly could not have done this, accomplished my hefty list of goals over the past 4 years without them by my side. I also need to thank my employer, CETA. They have been more than accommodating and understanding than I could ever hope for. And without them, I wouldn't have been able to give the full commitment needed to effectively do my job. In 4 years, I've only missed 1 council meeting. Next, a big thank you to all the wonderful staff and my fellow councillors that I have had the pleasure to work alongside at the MD of Bonnyville this past term. It has been my honor to meet and collaborate with so many smart, dedicated, and innovative people. Lastly, I would like to thank everyone that voted for me 4 years ago. You took a chance on a rookie politician. I pray that I've served all Ward 2 ratepayers well, and hope that I've earned your trust to serve another term. Together, we have built incredible momentum. Every day, it's been exciting and dynamic to represent the Ward 2 community members. When I decided to run for council 4 years ago, my decision was driven by my sense of community pride and spirit. I love living in Lakeland. I want to grow old here. I want to watch my children prosper and raise their own families in the MD. I'm not the type of guy that can sit back and watch. I need to be involved and help make things better where I can be of service. As many of the MD staff and my fellow councillors can attest to, I push hard in order to drive positive change. I hope that my tenacity is evident with all the lifestyle improvements we have seen in Ward 2 alone, including Vezo Beach, the walking trails, boat launches, pickleball courts, drainage plans, road improvements, and many other items that go undetected, yet affect our everyday lives. I have been responsive to my constituents and place extreme importance to follow through when concerns are brought forward. Meeting you and hearing your concerns has been the best part of my position. Oftentimes I've noticed that you come to me with your problems, but also solutions to consider. I've enjoyed being your sounding board. When our current council began this term, we wanted to make sure that we were focusing our attention on the most important issues of the day. We wanted to be proactive and ask our residents questions and get the feedback we needed to help direct our efforts in the right direction. We didn't want to waste time. Some of our polling initiatives included MD Recreation Survey, MD Staff Employment Survey, and a needs assessment. This led to many firsts for the MD of Bonnyville, including a strategic plan for both the MD and the C2 Center that helped us create set points and goals for our path forward. A carefully crafted business plan that laid out clear direction on how we wanted to improve the operability of the MD in Broad, and a recreation master plan, which we came to find out was desperately needed. We followed up with a road classification system that graded all of our roads based on actual usage, a road massive building plan that allowed us to plan our road construction schedule years in advance, roadside brushing plan that helps us focus on areas that were an immediate concern, and drainage plans for several of our 80 plus subdivisions. We also recognized that our local economy needed a boost. Therefore, we created the first ever in rural Canada small business tax bracket that reduced the tax burden by 10% for nearly the 200 MD businesses that took advantage of this plan. We then proceeded to lessen the burden to our industry partners and lower the industrial rate tax for our largest employers to ultimately help our economy. Rural crime was and continues to be a very concerning issue for MD. We held public forums to get critical feedback from our residents, and from these forums, industry programs to provide help. We started the vacant home system check. We were also able to start the Lakeland Crime Reduction Unit, which turned out to be very successful. We hired 3 new RCMP officers and an administrator to help with the mounting backlog of paperwork. We also funded half the cost of HARP, the RCMP crime dog. In the community, we have created the Community Action Grant that allows nonprofits to apply for funding for their capital projects. We funded the playground projects at Duke Lowes Elementary, Iron River School. We became a major contributor to the Green and Gold Track and Field project in Glendon. And that's it.
The oil sector has played a major role in our region's prosperity, but with the volatile nature of the price of oil, we have seen many recessions. What do you see as a feasible answer to diversify the economy in our region and to ensure its sustainability in conjunction with the oil and gas sector?
Perfect. Okay, so one of the first steps to diversifying our economy is to create a place where people want to live in, relocate to, and do business in. Bringing new investment into the community was one of the key drivers to many of our quality of life projects, such as the walking trail expansions, campground improvements and expansions, pickleball courts, starting the medical doctors recruitment fund, and alleviating our local tax burdens. I currently chair the Regional Economic Development Committee, and I'm a small business owner. So growing a vibrant and diverse economy is of the utmost importance to me on a personal level as well. I have a vested interest in here, like many of you. The MD is more than oil and gas. We have a thriving agricultural sector that we've helped by endorsing the VSI program and by funding improvements to the Bonnyville sea cleaning plant. I also recognize the importance of recreational and sports tourism to our service industry. We have initiated such projects as the Kinnisuh Adventure Park, the Municipal the Vezu Beach project, the Muriel Lake MD and Cold Lake MD campground improvements, walking trail expansions, and improvements to the C2, like the VIP lounge, Agriplex revitalization, mini stick rink, and golf simulator, which all spark tourism through sports and recreation. Most importantly, the cost of doing business needs to be controlled and managed to allow new business startups to succeed. The small business tax bracket, the lower industrial taxes, and holding a residential mill rate for the past 4 years has gone a long way to help attract new business and allow established business to succeed. Our airport improvements alone will make it easier to do business in the MD. We're also excited about our newly formed area structure plans for Highway 41 and 20H, which will bridge business and residential needs.
Our chamber network has been regularly monitoring and measuring barriers to business in our community. What do you see as an opportunity to work with business to establish a framework of measurement to improve services and make our community more attractive to investment?
All right, thank you. So the formation of the Regional Economic Development Committee was driven by wanting to work with our local businesses and attracting investment from others. Through a grant, we were able to hire an economic development officer that stays in close contact with our business partners. We work on several initiatives that are geared towards economic development, including Town and MD Facade Improvement Program, a regional branding strategy, business attraction marketing plan, MD and Town Business Registry, business retention and expansion programs. We've also identified 6 different business sectors that we feel will thrive in the region under the proper conditions, and they include agricultural, technology and proteins, oil and gas, renewables, military procurement, tourism and quality of life, retail services. We are currently developing exciting business plans to help retain and attract investments in each of these sectors.
If elected, what are the top 3 priorities you wish to accomplish during your term, and what do you believe success looks like as a councillor?
Perfect. So I think the first one is to see some of our initiatives through that we've started with the MD internally, and we've created many efficiencies, including road master building plans, road classification plans, strategic plans, a business plan, rec master plan. I can go on and on with all the plans. So now we need to start and implementing these things and really see our plans come to fruition. So that is definitely one. Two, another one is Moose Lake. Again, we've spent the last 4 years doing studies and taking samples, and improving the health of Moose Lake is at the top of my priority list for sure. So there's those two. And then economic development is of course an important one. Like I said, it's very dear and near to my heart. I'm a small business owner in town. My career is in business development as well. So seeing a thriving economy locally is important to me, professionally, personally, and for everything, right? So, and honestly, 4 years of seeing a thriving economy, seeing a lake that is usable, or at least building a plan that makes it more usable, and just a leaner, more efficient MD workforce, right?
What will you do to engage and foster relationships with the Indigenous community to ensure we acknowledge and prevent systemic racism in our region?
All right. So, honestly, I think that the biggest one with that is make sure that they're included, right? You want to be able to listen and develop plans with the Indigenous leaders. We already started some of these plans, for example, out of French Bay, where we're taking over that campsite from the province. And in order to do so, we've had to come, build a relationship with the First Nations who own a lot of that land out there, and develop plans together that works for both and sees both thriving. There is some hopes for plans beyond Kinnessoo, and that is on Indigenous lands back there too. So there's going to be a lot of work to kind of push that stuff forward. And then any plans that we do in the MD as far as the tourism, needs to include the Indigenous people, because they have such a rich culture here that we are able to expose and work with to bring tourism for all of us.
What ideas, I guess specific ideas, do you have to ensure Bonnyville is a place of attraction for tourism and new business? Kind of answered it, so you can just go ahead and repeat yourself.
Yeah, well, I tell you that tourism and sports tourism are two sectors that I've been very vocal on, and I think it's underexposed here. I think that we have a lot of potential, and it's exactly why we've spearheaded many of these projects, and we're starting to see some of that, the byproduct of that. We are receiving letters from campers that come from all over Alberta that are mad that they're only discovering this region for the first time in the last year or two, and they give us compliments on our walking trails and Vezo Beach, and then they talk about Kinnessoo when they come up there, and we have so many hidden gems here that that is a whole economic driver. And I tell anyone who'll listen, I say it half jokingly, but I'm kind of serious, is that we are Jasper East. I think we can offer a lot of things that other very highly visited spots can do as well. And I think we need to just expose that better and use some of our facilities too. We have world-class football and track and field facilities here with the C2 and the Energy Center in Cold Lake. These are, people compliment these facilities all the time. And everything about it is the rodeo grounds. Like, there's so many things here that we can expose and just show people, hey, come visit and come here and spend some money here, right? So I just want to say that it has truly been my pleasure to serve the outstanding citizens of Ward 2 and the entire MD of Bonnyville. I feel that I've made informed decisions with my best interests of the MD in my heart. Some decisions have been tough. I've always appreciated your patience through my first term in Ward 2. Together with my teammates, I have effectively inserted quality policies and improved our way of life. I sincerely enjoyed driving by residential areas to witness these improvements firsthand. Watching pickup games on the pickleball courts or kids bouncing on the new air pillow put a smile on my face every time. I have been committed and dedicated with my duties, only missing one council meeting in 4 years, and I've also greatly enjoyed sitting amongst or chairing several different committees. The MD of Bonnyville is a vibrant place filled with incredible people. It has been an incredible experience for me to represent Ward 2, and I'd like to keep the momentum going. On election day, October 18th, I'm humbly asking for your support. And before you cast that vote for a different candidate, please ask yourself, if Ward 2 and the MD as a whole is in a better place now than it was 4 years ago, if we agree that this is the case, then vote for Darcy Scarson for Ward 2 Councillor of the MD of Bonnyville.
All right, hello everybody. My name's Kurt Richard. I'm running for Ward 2 Council position for the MD of Bonnyville. Humbled to have this opportunity. It was quite an interesting conversation when it first came up and somebody wanted to nominate me for the role, so I took a long hard thought about it and felt that there's a good chance that I could probably do some good. So I'm a really good team effort, collaborator type of a person, and really that's what an MD council is all about. I've spent lots of time now on various boards, and that's, in my opinion, really the MD council is just a bigger, more represented board, let's call it. So I spent a 3-year term on the Lakeland Co-op board here in Bonnyville, and offering services in Bonnyville and Cold Lake was a really interesting introduction to the cooperative business model. From there, I was elected to the credit union, Lakeland Credit Union, representing Bonnyville, Cold Lake, and the Lakeland region, where I'm still sitting 5 years in now as a director, and I sit as the chair for the Audit, Finance, and Risk Committee. In my time there, I was graciously appointed as one of the 3 representatives for the northern credit unions in the province to sit at the Credit Union Central of Alberta. So that's the central trade organization for the entire provincial credit union system. So really interesting learning and opportunity to number one, get to manage a very large budget. We're in the managing $28 billion of assets in the province. So interesting to be able to have an overlooking view on a larger asset portfolio such as that. And also just the opportunity to get to work with some of the distinguished people that were there around the table, getting to work with, it's made up of bank CEOs and C-level staff, retired MLAs, just a vast range of people to really get to know and learn from, which was my probably the biggest achievement for me with the time there. I always called myself the junior and the one sitting there with the opportunity to learn, but equally they would come back to me and say that there was a lot that I brought to the table, so that was very distinguishing. Beyond that, some more local stuff that I've been involved with. I sat on the Bonnyville Regional Airport Committee for the time when it was still in operation. Since the MD has taken control of the airport from the town of Bonnyville, so the committee has been dissolved, and that's in process for a potential new setup going forward. So that'll be of some interest for me going forward. I continue to sit as the president of the Bonnyville Flying Club. So that's a bit more of my giving back to the community, I guess. As a resident here in Ward 2, and I've been basically of my whole life. I grew up just down the road here, spent a little bit of time. We lived in Bonnyville in the town for several years, and just in the last few, we've moved back out, and we're near the lake, and great young family kind of subdivisions, and wonderful place to raise your kids. So I really want to work hard for not just the Ward 2 residents, but all the residents of the MD of Bonnyville and all the surrounding jurisdictions that we have impact on, just to continue this way of life that we've all come accustomed to live, and it's something that we need to always be looking to raise the bar and do better. Professionally, I own a business in town here, Kudo Energy Services. I own it with my business partner, and we've been in business for going on 6 years now. We've seen the challenges that this has had, ups and downs with the changing in economy and everything, but we've persevered, we've learned a lot through it, and really proud to have been able to supported so many families through all these changing times, and we're looking to continue to do that going forward. So if given the opportunity and the vote for Ward 2 here, I will work hard for the constituents.
The oil sector has played a major role in our region's prosperity, but with the volatile nature of the price of oil, we have seen many recessions. What do you see as a feasible answer to diversify the economy in our region and ensure its sustainability in conjunction with the oil and gas sector?
This is a question that resonates with me a little bit. Obviously, we're very deep into the oil and gas industry. I struggle with it because it's a bit of a federal government, I would say liberal government question, and this is just the way that I'm accepting it. We hear this a lot in the media nowadays, how our governments are going to retrain our workers and our employees to do something different, yet they have no answer. And the vast reality is the oil and gas industry is not going away anytime soon. And, I am all for these green initiatives that we've been working hard to put forward. I think every resident of society needs to do their best to be a little bit cleaner and, a little bit more responsible. However, the reality is the world is not getting off oil and gas anytime soon. So I think instead of trying to find a way to get out of it, our government should be advocating for it. And, they should really be doing what they can to support this industry, to help it innovate, and encourage our local residents to be thoughtful, creative thinkers, innovative, looking for opportunities to better serve the oil and gas industry and all the jobs that it creates and the tax dollars that it brings, to our area. Really, it is the biggest supporter for our tax base, with bringing in the range of 90% of the income for the MD. We should really be doing everything we can to support it, because a successful oil and gas industry makes everybody successful. It doesn't matter what industry it's in, because the spin-off revenue is creating programs to support the agriculture industry, for instance, is one. All the other businesses in town, whether it be directly or indirectly involved in the oil and gas industry, if it's busier, then it's going to be better for them. What I can say is, of course, education is always a big part of the conversation. Knowing that we have cycles in our industry that support us, to the vast majority, we need to be a little bit more fiscally responsible, all the way right down to the home scenario, and learn to tuck a few dollars away for those slower times. But to the most part, even in the toughest times we've gone through, lots and lots and lots of people have been able to keep their jobs, even if it's been a bit of a reduced pay. I still see families going to school, and it's kids going to school, and I think it's a good thing to support.
Our Chamber network has been regularly monitoring and measuring barriers to business in our community. What do you see as an opportunity to work with business to establish a framework of measurement to improve services and make our community more attractive to investment?
At the end of the day, governments can only play so much of a role as far as business development is concerned. But what they can do is make sure that accessing the programs that a municipal government, for instance, has are very easy to, number one, access and navigate. And the next part of the equation is, as a government, we can work to try and make those processes simpler, or how do I say, the loosen or lessen the red tape side of the equation. At the end of the day, that's a lot of what government can do. So there's a lot of rules, regulations that need to be in place and need to be followed. But in a lot of cases, we can look at some of these scenarios and figure out, how do we make it easier. At the end of the day, it should be a customer service approach. All taxpayers, in my opinion, are customers of our governments. We are. And so all of the services that are provided should be, with a customer service view. How can I help you get through this better? How can I help you be successful? If we could use that mindset, it would be amazing how much more business I feel like we could probably encourage and bring to the table. So that's probably about what I have to say on that.
If elected, what are the top 3 priorities you wish to accomplish during your term, and what do you believe success looks like as a councillor?
All right, my top 3 priorities. Well, I would have to say I'm just going to start from a high level view and work my way down. Again, going back to my experiences of my past, some of the board work that I've done, it really comes down to cooperation and collaboration amongst your board or your council at the very beginning, right? So I've become very good at being that person that sits in the room and ensures that everybody is on the same page, let's say. How do we work together to achieve a common goal? So I think my very first priority is to understand all of the counselors that are in the room and the reeve, and how we can best work together to achieve our goals. So I really like to toy on the line of cooperation and collaboration. So that number one priority would be in council. So from there, I would say the priority broadens, and it would go to the regional collaboration. I think it is very, very important that we look at common services, common goals, common use of resources. You know, at the end of the day, we're responsible to taxpayers with every dollar that's spent, and if we can find efficiencies for those tax dollars, I think it's very important. So again, like I say, that regional cooperation amongst governments is very important. And then if we just take one step further, going beyond to the province, like there's only so much that the MD Council can do to to fight at the provincial level, but we have to take the opportunities where we can to be influential there as well, obviously, because the decisions of the province have big impact on our area. So I would say that kind of comes down, that would be the third priority, is just to continue to be an advocate for not just the constituents here, but the region as a whole, and to ensure the viability of the area and all that we have to offer the province in this country.
Perfect. What will you do to engage and foster relationships with the Indigenous community to ensure we acknowledge and prevent systemic racism in our region?
That's a good question. It's it's very prevalent in the media today, right? It's a big topic to tackle, and it starts at multiple levels of government. Obviously, the federal government is doing their part right now, that taking the direction that they see fit, which is nice to see. The provinces are taking their own direction, and as a MD Council, we have the opportunity to do the same. Like all situations, I think there's an opportunity to advocate for, let's be nice to one another. Let's not talk down to one another. The color of our skin doesn't matter. It shouldn't, the race or gender. Why is that a division in today's society? It's something that all levels of government can work harder to try and create, I guess, equal opportunities, right? That's a lot of the conversation, and just try and give that a general high level push that let's do a better job than we've done before.
What ideas do you have to ensure Bonnyville is a place of attraction for tourism and new business?
Well, I like the question. I would broaden it a little bit, right? Obviously, as a resident in the MD of Bonnyville, I would say that I would prefer that this question is directed to the MD of Bonnyville or the Lakeland region. There's lots to be offered this area has. We've got beautiful lakes, beautiful outdoors. We've got more and more recreational facilities that people are coming from all around to use. So we can always advocate with Alberta tourism, for instance, to make sure that we're on the map for a lot of these these attractions that we have, right? Encourage people through the use of social media, right? Everyone has a voice and has the ability to help, right? Tell your friends, make comments. All we go out and do this stuff, and it just, you kind of take it for granted sometimes, because it's right here in our backyard. But tell your friends, tell your family that all that this area has to offer, and try and encourage them to come and see what there is here. So I would say this is one of those things that continuous word of mouth is amazing, the power that it has. So I would really encourage every resident to do so. I would, from an MD perspective, again, it's work with the provinces, and just through the use of various advertising methods to make sure that we're on the map and we're known, and hey, come and visit. just want to say thanks to the Bonnyville District Chamber of Commerce for holding this this modified forum, let's call it. Challenging times, but we got to come up with a way to be able to do this type of thing. So appreciative, of course, for having this opportunity. In closing, just wanted to say I've really enjoyed the process up to this point so far. Got out early on, been talking to lots of people. Just, you know, in the last few weeks here, been out again talking to people, and really enjoying the chance to get to know more of the residents and you know, hear their voices and their views. So a lot of what I've told people is, you know, as an elected representative, your job is to live out the wishes, wants, views of the constituents. So I find there's no better way to, you know, continue to adjust and develop that platform than to hear from others. So I'm going to continue to be out in the community in the weeks to come up to the election, and you know, feel free. I put up a page there, kurtforcouncil.com. There's a comment section in there if you want to drop me a comment. Arrange a time to meet up for, of course, a socially distanced coffee. I'd be happy to hear your perspective. You know, even just some of the opportunities to hear some stories of the past of the area. It really helps bring perspective and help with some of the decisions going forward. So I hope I've given a good rundown on a little bit of who I am and what I'd like to do, and really appreciate you to get out and vote. October the 18th is your opportunity. That's it. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Don Slipchuk. I'm running as councillor for Ward 4. And the reason I decided to run was because I love our community and all the beauty we have around here. I believe we need to help and work together with businesses, work with the oil and gas industry, farmers, so we can keep our grandchildren here, our children here to work and live and have a prosperous future. I believe there's a lot I can add to this MD to bring forward changes and enhance tourism in our area. And I appreciate you guys considering me for council, and I've been born and raised in this MD, actually in MD Ward 4. Lived in Dupree. We farmed with my father. My brother still farms. And I've been in the oil industry 40 years. I worked all over the world. And I believe that will add some benefits to the council I can add. And as well as I got my grandchildren and children that live in Bonnyville that are in the education, nursing, mechanics, farming, and oil field as well. And I believe I have a various experience in all avenues of the industry.
The oil sector has played a major role in our region's prosperity, but with the volatile nature of the price of oil, we have seen many recessions. What do you see as a feasible answer to diversify our economy to ensure its sustainability in conjunction with the oil and gas sector?
Well, I've always worked in the oil and gas industry, and I will do my best to support the industry in our area. Encouraging investment opportunities in the MD would lead to more businesses coming to the area and more jobs for our community. Offering tax incentives would be one way to work with businesses during the downturns and the slowdowns, so that they can maintain to keep their business open and stay in our community and enjoy this area and our life, the life they have here. A floating tax program would be another possibility of charging more during the high times and working with the business owners to reduce their tax rates, so that makes it easier on them to be able to keep their doors open. Another thing is supporting our agriculture industry, trying to bring in more businesses to support them in their area of field, and bring dealerships or ag shows or trade shows, encouraging agriculture more. Another thing is tourism. I believe we can do a lot more to bring more tourism to our area, because we've got beautiful lakes, trails that would help bring business to the retail sector in our community, in our town.
Our chamber network has been regularly monitoring and measuring barriers to business in our community. What do you see as an opportunity to work with business to establish a framework of measurement to improve services and make our community more attractive to investment?
Okay, first off, I believe communication is key to improving our business community. Talking to business owners and customers will help us determine the strengths and the weaknesses of our current business situation. This will help us to find areas of improvement and potential solutions to barriers that businesses are currently facing. What businesses do people want to see in our community? What would make owning a business more enticing for somebody? What struggles and concerns are business owners currently facing? And how can the MD assist them with their businesses or even starting up a new business?
If elected, what are the top 3 priorities you wish to accomplish during your term? And what do you believe success looks like as a councillor?
The top 3 priorities for me would to be bring honesty to council and make sure we're open and transparent with the constituents, no matter what the situation is, because they're the ones that pay their taxes, and we work for them. We should answer to them in all situations, no matter if it's a bad thing or a good thing. We should always have to give them an answer. They're the ones that are paying our wages. Success as a councillor is us having our businesses, our town businesses, all prospering and keeping our children and our grandchildren living in this community and drawing others to it because of our beauty, our area, and our friendship and kindness to each other.
What will you do to engage and foster relationships with the Indigenous community to ensure we acknowledge and prevent systemic racism in our region?
Well, I believe, like, I've worked with a lot of Indigenous people and my business in the oil field, and I believe that if we would come together more, like realize their powwow days and farm days, that get together as a community, because we're all a community, and help each other together and lift each other up. I believe that's what we need to do, is just love one another, lift each other up, and help each other, because we're all equal in God's eyes. There's no racism or less people. Like we should follow God's commands and love one another.
What ideas do you have to ensure Bonnyville is a place of attraction for tourism and for new business?
Okay, I propose to do it by creating more tourism in our area and attracting more people here. Like, we've started a little business just south of town on Highway 28, the cider place. Like everybody's talking about, just a little business like that. And you get people coming in, tourism, they tell their friends when they leave here. And that's the kind of thing that brings people to our area. Also, improve our campsites, improve services for RVs. So they have support services like RV dumps, more camp installs, and also like have more like agriculture days and like that to bring people to our area to spend money and to support our businesses. And I know people come in, once they come in and they see it and see this, you'll have people moving in here. And our tax base will go start bigger. I thank you for considering me for councillor in Ward 4. The reason I took this job is because I love my area, my community, and I want to see our grandchildren and children live here. And I believe that I can help go forward with it, with working and listening to my constituents, not only in my ward, but in all the MD. So that they have great ideas how we can enhance our opportunities here and services. We should listen to them.